In today's video, the daunting task of going from 30% body fat all the way down to 10% body fat. I'll show you a picture of me here that's about as close as I can show you at 30%. I'll show you another picture of me here below 10% body fat. I'm gonna talk to you guys about a no-nonsense actual approach that's gonna help you get there, and it's from a great question. We're starting right now. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com. In today's video, I want to talk to you about a question I got on my Instagram direct message. So if you go to my Instagram and send me questions, well guys, I'd love to answer them for you and help you out and make videos when I feel like they're relatable. And I've been getting this question a little bit more frequently later. So this gentleman reached out to me and he had a question. Basically boils down to this. He's about 35 years old, about 250 pounds, and right around 5'9", and wanting to get down to a place where he can see his body fat at 10%. So I had to plug some information into a calculator. I believe I came up with somewhere between 30 and 33% body fat at 250 pounds at 5'9". And I want to talk to you guys about the process of actually going from 30% to 10% body fat, because it sounds great, right? That sounds wonderful. And I've seen some amazing things over the years as a coach, as people that enter our challenge, and we provide these tools. But I want to talk to you guys about what those tools are and what are some realistic expectations, because I think a lot of the stuff that I see now presents things in a manner that makes them a little bit unrealistic. In fact, I just did a video the other day with one of our challenge winners who lost about 40 pounds in 12 weeks. Quite a drastic change in body fat over the course of 12 weeks. And the question would be, well, is that sustainable? Is that healthy? And you can see from the video I did with him that, yeah, actually he was able to sustain that and maintain it. And I think that's the key. The key, guys, is when you're going through a fat loss journey like this, to have some deadlines and timelines to make you hustle, but to also give yourself some recovery. So what would I first suggest when someone's in this position where they want to lose a lot of body fat? It all comes down to accountability. Do you know how many calories you're taking in? Do you know how many calories you're burning? You don't need to be overly perfect with your calorie tracking, but you need to be consistent, right? You can't be eating 1,000 calories one day and then 3,500 calories the next, right? And I find the key here is planning ahead and giving yourself a calorie range, and then based on that calorie range, adjusting as needed. But let's just say you take your body weight and multiply it times 15. For me, that is the starting point for most people's calories, right? Then you can start subtracting from there. I have a free calculator. If you go to prophysiquemacros.com, you can plug in information like your age, your height, all these things, and it's actually going to give you an estimate based on that where your calories should be to build, to lose rapidly. The idea there was, answering these questions. Sometimes people just need a place to start. Now, when you enter our challenge, we do provide meal plans based on a little bit more information, but the idea here is for you to be kind of self-sustained and understand what you got to do. This is going to be the biggest factor in all of it. Once you start to learn how to be accountable to your daily calories, and hopefully you're keeping your protein around your goal weight, which I'm going to get to in a minute here. So if you're going to be at 250 pounds at 5'9", what does 10% body fat look like for you weight-wise? It's a number that's probably going to surprise a lot of people, because I've been around this industry, I've been around this sport for a long time, and I don't think people realize how low the scale has to go to reach 10% body fat. For me, myself, 6'3", for me to be 10% body fat, it's probably 205, maybe a little under 210, 205. That's where I start to see my abs. Where I hang out typically, if I'm really putting on some muscle, 225 to 235, right? So getting down to 205, that's a big change for me when I'm still fit at 225 to 235. So understanding that if you're not fit at all, you've got an advantage, because body fat comes off much easier the more you have of it, right? The less you have, the longer it's going to take. So it might take me a lot longer to get to 10% body fat than it will take you to lose 10% body fat, because the body fat's going to come off pretty rapidly when you give your body the impetus, when you start eating well, when you start sleeping well, treating yourself well. So the first thing is focusing on that calorie goal for the day. I would start at about 15 times your body weight. But if you want to start off and be a little bit more aggressively, 12 times. Where I start to pay real attention to my athletes is when you get to 10 times your body weight, you probably need to be doing something that is going to allow you to sustain fat loss a little bit longer. I could go into depth on how to do refeeds and diet breaks. I've done those videos. So if you're already at a point where you're hitting a plateau and you don't really know what to do, refeeds and diet breaks. You can look at some of those videos up on my channel to discuss how to keep fat loss going, momentum going, without having to just slash calories and add cardio. Obviously, there needs to be a lifestyle change here. And I'll say this, something that's helped me immensely over the years to get leaner and stay leaner. I'm 48 years old, lifetime natural, no TRT. I still train 5 days a week, but I do something that is non-negotiable for me to maintain a lean physique. I walk every day. And I know that might sound silly. Walking doesn't burn that many calories. You'd be surprised, A, how many calories it does burn, but B, walking is not just one thing. And so setting a realistic timeline for yourself should be about creating a sustainable approach. Do you have something you can do every day? Body fat is not stubborn. People are stubborn. We put on body fat over months and years of mistreating our body. We expect it to come off rapidly. I'll say this, it can come off semi-rapidly to start, especially until you get down to like 15% body fat. Then the body's going to be a little bit more stubborn with that fat, but at least initially you can be pretty aggressive in seeing things move. So how do we sustain that? You're doing something for yourself every day that involves some movement, some activity. One thing that I love is I have my treadmill in my house. Before I had a treadmill in my house, I used to just get up and go for a walk at 5 or 6 in the morning. That might sound early, but it's really hot in Florida. So I would get out before it was too hot, walk for 30 minutes. When that stopped working, I'd add another 15. And when that stopped working, I'd walk an hour. When that stopped working, if I wanted to get leaner, I started walking on an incline to increase more calories. When that stopped working, I started doing 2 cardio sessions a day. So it just depends where you're at with comfortability. If you look at some of the winners, if you look at Dan, who won our last challenge, look at his before and look at his after, he got incredibly shredded. That was his goal. You might not want to get that lean. He's like, he didn't even compete in these competition lean. But the point is, he only used walking for his cardio. He tracked his steps very diligently. He was a very detailed person. I've got videos on my channel and an interview with him, but he tracked his macros and just walked. So finding ways to incorporate more activity in your day is going to be something that helps you sustain long enough to get where you're going, okay? Now, the number on the scale that you're gonna have to reach based on my estimations is probably between 160 and 170 pounds. So we're talking about 80 to 90 pounds to reach 10% body fat. Now we're gonna get into the nuts and bolts of this as far as what to expect for timelines and expectations, because I don't believe that you're going to lose 80 pounds consecutively, meaning you're in a deficit for the next year or more, right? Now, is it possible? Sure. But here's what I would suggest. I would suggest dieting for 10, 12, maybe 16 weeks consecutively, focusing on fat loss, followed by a period of 2 to 4 weeks at maintenance calories, and then again, getting more aggressive and trying to lose body fat again. What I find is by taking these intermittent breaks, it allows your body, your digestive system, your mind to get into a place where it is stable again, and then you're able to lose more body fat. Our bodies can be pushed to a point, but you can also over-adapt to your progress. You can over-adapt to your restrictions and your activity level to the point where you make it very challenging. These little break periods, they first got documented in research a few years ago. They're commonly now referred to as a diet break. You bring your calories up to maintenance. It's not a break from tracking. It's not a break from your lifestyle. It's a break from the grind of trying to lose body fat every single day and being in a deficit. You bring your food up a little bit. You bring your activity down a little bit. What I find, especially with my bodybuilding competitors, is that it really helps them sustain fat loss for longer. They feel better. And perhaps the most important part of fat loss is keeps it off. That's right. Once you get body fat off, how do you keep it off? I know when I was younger, I thought, well, you have to work so hard to get it off. Who would actually want to stay there? It's actually quite easy to stay there because you don't have to work as hard. Once the body fat is off, you can reduce the workload, increase the calories, and stay at the same place. But however, most people, once they reach their goal, they go back to what they were doing before, their old habits. They start eating out again. They start in a surplus of several thousand calories. And your body, after a long period of dieting, is susceptible to rapid body fat gain. The systems are in place for that fat uptake. So you have to be intelligent about how you're going to handle that post-diet. Now, for you to lose this 80 to 90 pounds to reach your goal, it's going to be a longer time frame, right? You're going to have to plan for a year or more of dieting. Over those course of those 12 to 16 weeks of fat loss, If the momentum is good, I would say you can drag it out a little bit longer, especially as you're coming down from 250, 240, 230, and so on. Once you get closer to that 170 to 180 number, you might even need more frequent breaks. You might need to diet for 6 or 8 weeks and take a 2-week break. You might need to diet for 2 weeks and take a 1-week break. You know, the point is that don't get caught up in the idea that you need to diet the entire time, meaning being in a caloric deficit, until you get there. You will fatigue, you will plateau, and you will need to give your body and your mind a break, okay? And this is something that's going to allow you to not only get there, but also, once you get there, have some tools in place on how to maintain, how to recover, how to not feel like you need to constantly be grinding. This, and only this, is what's going to allow you to get there, okay? If you take an approach to losing this body fat that is not teaching you accountability, that is not requiring you to learn a new lifestyle on a daily basis, once you get there, you're going to revert and you're going to put body fat back on. And the research is pretty bad. Dieting improperly, usually about 80 to 85% of the people gain the weight back and then increase. Okay, that research is quite dramatic. Now, I wish I could do research on my clients. I could show the data on my competitors, the people that I diet down, because when they're done dieting with me, they keep their weight lighter than they've ever kept it, right? Because I've put these systems in place for them to be better equipped once their fat loss diets are over, to be able to maintain a body composition that they're much happier with, and they understand how to maintain that, okay? So honestly, I would be focusing for you 12 to 16 weeks at a time, trying to lose in that time 15 to 20, 25 pounds, right? It might take a couple diets along the way, a little bit of recovery. You might be able to plan it around some events, give yourself timelines. Heck, I'm gonna promote my own transformation challenge because this is what it's about. The people that enter this challenge are having amazing results. We're also supporting them year round. We have multiple challenges, and these communities, these groups that we've created, are there to support people with their meal plans, their training plans, their mental mindset. They get motivation from the other people in the groups. And so we're seeing some great success, and we have some exciting things in store. Our next challenge is starting here in just a couple weeks, so I'll try to remember to put that below in the description, but if I don't, you can just go to prophysique.com and click on the events button. You can also go to prophysique.com and go to our free ebook section. I've got a free beginner's guide. I've got the macro calculator, tools for you to work towards reaching a physique that you're happy with maintaining year round. Guys, I'm 48 years old. I've been doing this a long time. I'm able to maintain a physique that I'm very happy with because I've experimented on myself. You don't have to make the same mistakes that I did when I was younger. Huge fluctuations, lots of changes, mental anguish, not understanding the value of breaks, of food, of macros, of being able to eat out. Guys, it's definitely work, but it's also work to not wake up and be happy with yourself every single day. So you just got to choose what kind of work you want to do. All right, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.